Brandon Dalton, captain of Heads of State. Mate, what are we going to expect from Heads of State out of this game?
A lot of noise, a lot of energy, usual hot stuff.
Usual hot stuff.
Yeah.
Some new players out there for you?
Yeah, there's a couple of new players, a couple of young people. Got a Max Napolitan, who's 17, fresh gun out. But yeah, a couple of old boys back as well. Be loud and usual from us.
All right, thanks, Brandon. Good luck for the game.
Good luck.
Nick Smith, captain of Quoll. Similar story for you, a lot of pickups and new players.
Yeah, that's right, a lot of young boys. Keep an eye out for Callum Dungy and Adam Baines, a couple of our young guys in their first nationals.
Yep. So only 5, though, that have been here before?
Yeah, something like that. Had a lot of turnover from last year. I think there's only actually 2 of us who played in Canberra last year. So.
Wow, that's a big turnover.
Yep.
Great to see Tasmania back. Good luck for the game.
Good to be here.
We'll go to a quick video now and then come back with your commentators for the game, Andy Moroney and Anna Stoddard.
What is spirit of the game?
It's knowing the rules and when they apply.
It's avoiding body contact wherever possible.
It's keeping a positive attitude and enjoying the sport.
It's being fair-minded even when the game is on the line.
It's communicating respectfully with your opponent.
All right, we're back with our second game of the Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships on day 1. This time we've got Melbourne Carnage and Quoll from Tasmania.
First game of the day for both teams. Melbourne Carnage looking for a probably more successful outing than their first Div 2 Nationals, which was last year. Unfortunately, weren't able to win a game, but coming out with plenty of fire in the belly for this. And Quoll, as Dan said, fantastic to see Tasmanian Ultimate back on the scene, roaring to life. Got a bunch of rookies, also some help from interstate, a couple of WA players, a couple of New South Wales players as well. So we should be in for a good game, Anna.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see Quoll play. I haven't really had a chance to see a full Tasmanian team since I've been playing, so I think it's great for the sport, and I'm super excited to see if they bring something new to Ultimate.
Exactly, as we saw the team sheet there, number 9, one to watch, Adam Baines, a rookie, and Tim Stoneman as well as Harry Bird will be the experienced heads, probably throwing most of the long discs, so should be exciting to see. Papa field having a good time as we now take a look at the Carnage lineup. Melbourne Carnage, part of the Heads of State Ultimate Group. And Max Napolitano, 17 years of age, nice, fresh-faced. Hopefully he's got fresh legs because he's going to need them. The young players always seem to get the most running, Anna.
I mean, that's the way of life, isn't it? You start off as a young, fresh cutter,
yep,
and then end up as a experienced, but maybe not running so much.
Yeah, exactly, you earn the right not to run. Ernest Tay and Doug Faithful, also the other rookies on the team. As we see the first pull go up, and it'll be Quoll taking the offensive possession.
Pulls in, centred immediately to Josh Higgins. Nice quick start to play. Tim Stoneman with the disc.
Nice swing.
Not having too much trouble getting it off at the moment. Foggin with it. Stephen Cassar. Back to Foggin. He fakes a big flick. Same one's a bit shorter. Chakota. Sending it back to the middle of the field. Nice low one, but picked up. And an overhead hammer. And it's caught.
Quoll on the board.
It's one into the game. It's always good to open a game with a hammer goal.
Josh Higgins up and about. Nice work from Quoll, able to get some resets on the dump nice and early.
Yeah, lots of nice flow from Quoll there. Not a lot of getting stuck down with the disc. They didn't have it for too many seconds before they were passing it off again.
They made space in the lane really well for the cutters. So, you know, sending one player out there rather than two competing for the same space and putting their defenders in to defend that space as well. Really nice. Gave them all the time in the world. The hammer goal, first point, yeah.
It's a great pickup, and then immediately a hammer.
It's an interesting choice for the first point of the game. But you know what? If you've got it, throw it. Love it.
If you're on live stream.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Probably had a feeling he was on the live stream and went, right, here's one for the highlight real nice and early.
Yeah.
So we'll see Heads of State come out. Their first offensive look. Probably running a lot of their offense through some of their more experienced players. Chris Rabber, number 88, and Mark Twantong, number 7. As we see the pool go up, should breach the brick mark as we see Chris Rabber with the disc now. Looks inside, Ernest Tay. Mark Twantong. Mark hits Rabber. Rabber looks long, instead looks to come under, goes back to Mark. Mark, look away. Okay, also knows he's on the live feed as they get some really nice flow out to Max Napolitano. Napolitano hits his rookie teammate in Tay. Napolitano, a little pushy. Max Napolitano, they're getting around him nice and early. First goal at Nationals, and they're letting him know all about it.
Yeah, once again, both teams with nice, easy flowing first points of offense, which is good to see. It makes for a very interesting, very tight game when offenses can be well-oiled and well executed.
Yeah, spot on. It makes any kind of turnover or break point that much more important. So if you had given me odds that the first point would be scored in a hammer and the second would be scored in a push pass, which for those unfamiliar with Frisbee are some of the more unconventional throws.
Less encouraged.
I would have got good odds, I'd say that much. You just get nightmares of those kinds of throws getting deed. But not that time. The rookie Napolitano catching from his rookie teammate Tay. So once again, we'll see Quoll come out on offense. One apiece.
Hands are up. Pool's coming down.
Nice pull.
It's going to be caught. A nice, easy, long throw first to Logan. Resets behind him to Cotter. Undercut from Tay.
Oh, Cotter again.
Cotter again, yeah.
Welcome back. Sorry, everyone.
Lateral. Sends one up in the air. It's going to be a bit of a contest under the disc.
Oh.
And Tay gets there, but unfortunately pulls it out of his own grasp.
Yeah, he had a good piece of it, didn't he? So Tom Hine will be picking up. Nothing much happening in the stack. So he engages Lockie Wardle, who goes up the line. He's covered. Instead comes back to Tom Vathis. Tom Vathis looks at the around break. Can't get it. Again engages Tom Hine. And goes around, but disengaged, so it's hard to keep eye contact when you're on 360 degrees.
Good opportunity here for Quoll, right in front of the end zone. Lateral gets it. Throws.
That's a break.
Bit of a spicy throw to Tay.
That's
inside out, backhand.
That's the first big moment of this match. Quoll breaking the Jugger offense.
No, I think there was a hold. They just Carnage got a turn, and then Quoll luckily held. So we're still on serve.
Lucky one of us is paying attention, Anna. Thank you very much. Big moment in that game, a hold from Quoll. Holds are very important, as well as breaks, so I was half right.
Just as important as each other, really.
Day 1, game 2, and it's already falling apart. How am I going?
I think it is important, though, that once you get a turn and are able to get it back, that those mistakes don't keep snowballing.
Yeah.
So one turn is enough. There's enough energy to expend to maybe get the break back, but once you continuously start turning the disc, that's when things can really start to go wrong.
Yeah, and we saw that in the first game today, probably 5, 6, 7 turnover points. Fatigue starts to become an issue mentally and physically, but it's been pretty clean here thus far. Roller that's gone out the side, I think it's rolled out, so if the disc rolls out, you take it from where it left the playing field. If it's out on the full, if it lands out, you can take it from the brick mark, or again, where the disc went out from the sideline. The brick mark is about 15 metres in up the field from the middle, but given this one landed in, Chris Rabber will take it up from where it went out, and he'll see Mark Twanthong go long. Disc hangs up a bit. Really nice grab from Mark. Centres nice and early to Matsunas. Matsunas goes out wide. It's just over the head of, I think that was Simpson there it was. So again, nice flow, but Anna, as you were saying, that the turnover element of the game, okay, 1 or 2 things happen, but you've got to take steps to avoid that turning into 4, 5, 6 turnover points.
Yes, particularly when offences are looking good and it looks like mistakes aren't going to come easy from the other side. Quoll picking up in the corner on the end zone though, never an easy place to start with the disc.
Great cut.
Gets it off. Dungy is looking to get it off the line into the middle of the field, which is probably a good choice. Tries for a scuba.
Max Jones hand block.
And he's blocked.
I would say fantastic cut from Dungy. Came in really hard, but yeah, just got stuck there. Chris Rabber looks wide, and Max Jones has the double happiness, got the hand block, has scored the goal, and once again, heads of state. Teammates let them know all about it. Quoll keeping their energy up too, lots of jogging and high fives.
Looked like there was almost a layout block opportunity for a Quoll player there, but he got a bit stuck on his feet.
Yep. As we'll see. Nice grab from Mark. Avoids the contact with the players. See the count getting high here with Dungy. Jones knowing that he doesn't have enough time to fake, so whatever throw it looks like he's going to throw, he's probably going to let it go. And then Chris Rabb, a little shoulder fake. Yeah, you're spot on. It's Tim Stoneman, I think, and he knew it as well.
Yeah.
A little frustrated, he read it, but like you say, he couldn't get his feet under him to actually make the bid. So we're on serve here, 2-2. A couple of turnovers, but I think for the most part, Anna, pretty clean ultimate.
Clean, yeah. Which is what you want to see. Makes for an entertaining game. Ratchets up the tension too.
Another good deep pull from heads of state.
Nice quick movement by Quoll at the start. Up the line. Baines taking his time. Sneed through to Tay. Sends a big outside flick to the end zone. And that's pretty simple for Isaac Petrie.
Yeah, I think the adjustment for Carnage is around stopping that primary play. So your primary play is kind of the first look that you have. Most offences will talk in between the point and say, right, this is what our first plan, our plan A, if you like, is going to be. What you want to try and do as a defence is shut down their plan A, force them to plan B, C and D, and eventually get that offensive breakdown. What Quoll are doing really well is their plan A is working. They're getting the first cut open, their second cut often open as well, and then that just enables the kind of flow that you're seeing here. Not many high counts. There's a lot of quick movement of the disc, and that makes it really hard for a defence to kind of get set and start exerting some pressure.
But also credit to Quoll that their primary play keeps coming off. It means it's well drilled, well practiced, and they're all pretty familiar with each other to keep the continuation going.
Yeah, you're spot on. I think the fact that and we said this in the first point, the fact that they're making space for their teammates means they all know the plan. It's no good if only 2 players know the plan. Everyone needs to know. As we see Quoll, it looks a little more zony. Transition probably now as Chris Rabber has it. And Chris lets go a long backhand that's almost completed to Peter Matsunas. Again, given the angle of that disc, a little bit hard to read. So Quoll now will have a chance to break.
Yes.
Have I got that right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you, keeping me honest.
Leighton Cotter in the far corner. Looks upfield and then looks to the centre pretty quickly. Throws upfield.
Matsunas with the D. And that's exactly what we're talking about. That's where Carnage shut down the plan A and plan B and C.
And things fall apart.
Getting a little bit lucky there. Mark Tuantong to Simpson. Simpson holds a little long, but gets the reset to Mark. Big bid. Equally nice grab from Vo. Chris Rabba. Rabba doesn't want to swing, instead goes the inside break to Mark. Back to Rabba. Rabba at his end zone line now. He's got Mark as the dump, doesn't engage him, instead to Simpson. Nice leading throw. Rabba goes up the line. Nice wide step out from Simpson. He was already clapping before the goal was caught. Enjoyed his work, and Rabba did too. It's 3-all. We stay on serve.
Dear.
Wasn't he happy with himself?
I mean, it was a nice piece of work.
And I think we are having our first time out of the game. 3 apiece. We'll see if Dan will listen in or get some time with one of the players or coaches. But Anna, so far, as we said, an excellent bid. I don't know who was that. That was I think Ethan Foggin.
Yeah, and it's those kinds of defensive bids, even if they're not successful, the knowledge that they can put pressure on a catch.
Totally. Just having the, like you say, having that knowledge as a cutter that someone's right on your hammer and not intentionally, by any means, not intentionally causing contact, but they're right there next to you, competing for that disc as hard as you are. It just ratchets up that pressure that little bit, and eventually, after point after point of that, that's where you can start to see some errors creep in. But overall, as we said, Anna, quite a clean game so far. 3-all, couple of turns, but remaining on serve.
Yeah, managing to get it back straight away, which also shows a good shift of mindset from offensive to defensive mindset to instantly be in that bit more of a mongrel, bit more get a block, get in the way kind of thinking.
So Carnage have broken from their huddle as Quoll breaks from theirs. So probably a strategic timeout. I believe it was called by Quoll. Probably just to balance, go, okay, we're into the game now. We're into 6 points in. Let's just calm ourselves, have a chat about a couple of adjustments to make. We might head to Dan. Dan, did you listen into any of those adjustments that Quoll may have been talking about?
Yeah, just listening in on the Quoll huddle. The timeout was called by Tim Stoneman. He's called an A-line here, so clearly sensing an important part of this game.
Yeah, there's yet to be a break, so I think both teams are sensing that it's important to get a break or two. That might be the decider in this game if there isn't going to be a lot of turns on offense.
Totally. I mean, 6 points in, it's all even so far. So a break, your spot on a break could be massive as we see Quoll pick it up. Oof.
Yep. Oh, spicy catch of the pool to Stoneman.
Looks like a jump from Carnage.
He sends it deep to Higgins. Carnage player reads it better.
And Hamish almost took a poor spectator's head off there, just a big volleyball spike. Old mate's there just minding his business in his camping chair, and unfortunately Hamish thought he deserved to cop a disc.
If you're not going to catch the D, you should well and truly make sure that it's...
That's once again a little bit of live stream action, I think. Just some style points as Lockie Wardle brings it in from the sideline. Goes to Vathis. Vathis fakes the wide around backhand. Instead looks flick. Looks to hits Chin. A Chin, nice long disc. And Benich's underneath this. It's going to be a race. Unfortunately, the disc drops to the ground, beats both players. Lucas Benicha there.
While that win's not as strong as it was in the first game, it's still, I think, playing a part.
Yeah, definitely.
Particularly on those longer throws.
Nice shot by Tam.
Higgins heading up to pick up the disc. Bring it to the end zone line.
Once again, Carnage looking at a zone look.
Yeah, lots of players in the disc space. Fakes a big one. gives a little one to Stoneman. Back to Higgins, a bit of give-go.
So I think you're going to see a lot of this. Higgins and Stoneman, as more experienced players, they'll be happy to throw 200 passes here, I reckon.
Back to Stoneman on the sideline. He has a look upfield, but not for very long. Sneed, back to Stoneman again, getting every second pass, just working his way slowly up the sideline, and then sends a hammer across field to Higgins, who's moved his way out there, but it's just past his fingertips, unfortunately.
You know, you mentioned the wind before, and that's exactly what hammers bring, is you can have a little bit of variation through the air. It makes it a little bit hard to read, particularly if you're standing right under it. It makes it a little bit hard to judge kind of which way the disc is going, as we see. Swung to Vathers. Tom Hines going to have some work to do, and does it well. Just toes it in. Oh, Stoneman, an unreal block. Play of the day so far. Read it, peeled off his player. Fantastic block by Tim Stoneman.
Second layout D attempt. First success. Higgins picking up on the sideline, just checking the disc hasn't been tacoed by that monster layout. All those people around the disc, it's really hard to get it out of that sideline, but he manages to get it to centre, but then gets it straight back. Pops it to Stoneman. He almost gets D'd. He's not finding much luck getting out of the space.
It stayed up. No, it's
very spicy. Oh, there's a call.
That'll be interesting.
Down?
Tom Hine got his foot. It actually went under his foot. He got what we call a foot block. The question will be if the disc touched the ground. So for those new to the game, if the disc touches the ground, even if it bobbles, it bounces back up, it's still considered down, which is a turnover. So Tom Hine.
I think that was up.
I think it was up too.
That's pretty rare. I don't think I've ever seen it go under the foot, not touch the grass, and it's called up.
No, called down, I think.
Called down?
I think they're contesting it. So it's going to come in on 6.
Contested. Higgins directing a little bit of traffic. And miscues a bit.
Is there a call? Yeah, no call.
No call.
Okay. I think the discussion was whether there was a stall or whether it was just a turn.
It's not too much of an effect on the actual outcome, though.
Tom Hine picks up. Vathis goes. Gets a lovely big break across to Douglas Faithful. Oh, Benicia just put it a little bit behind.
Sneed booking it deep, but no one's picked up the disc for him, unfortunately.
It's a good point, though.
To Higgins, Stoneman. Zone's not set up this time, so they're having a lot more freedom to move in the field. Back to Higgins, back to Stoneman. Give go for as long as you can. Tay's gesturing in the back of the end zone. Stoneman to Higgins all the way down the field for the goal.
And I mean, you called it perfectly, Anna. The fact that Quoll were able to move it quickly and not let that zone set is what gave them so much movement. So credit to Carnage for, I think, early success with that zone, but in transition, it's really hard. As we watch again, excellent block.
Incredible block. And now they know that he's capable of that. You know, anyone who's being marked by him always has that in the back of their minds.
Well, the fact is he peeled off his player. It wasn't even his player, you know, so it forces the thrower to take another look and go, you know, is Stoneman in the area? Because we probably don't want to be encouraging that.
Yeah. Those players wreak a lot of havoc without really doing a lot because you have to check before you throw.
Your offense. Yeah, definitely.
And it's another second you're waiting and then the cut's gone. Right, Quoll looking to once again get the first break of the game. No one's managed it yet.
Bulls have been pretty good so far. Chris Rabba holds. Hits Bowie. Carnage not loving the defense. It's really good pressure by Quoll. So It's up high. It's a really nice grab by Brandon Dalton, the captain, who have to do it again. This one, again, 2 in a row. They're making Dalton work for it. The poor captain just saying, guys, out in front would be just fine. Chris Rabber now, see if he can do it. Mark Tranthong, back to Chris Rabber. Chris Rabber looks break. He's able to extract one now, so they look to run it down the break side. But that's another goal. Max Jones. It's his second goal of the game.
Still on serve. But you can see once again that wind wreaking a bit of havoc, just putting a bit too much of the disc up in the air, and it sits and it hangs and it allows for the defenders to get under the disc and get a bit of a bite.
Dan, over to you.
Well, I was just having a chat with Leighton Cotter, one of the WA imports for Quoll. I asked him about the chemistry, and he said, well, it's kind of interesting because a lot of the Quoll team hasn't played together yet either. So he said it's almost just they're gelling right here, right now.
That's pretty impressive. Dan, do you know if they're playing off the offensive or defensive line? Because looking offensively, this looks like a team that's played together for months, if not years.
Well, I think that they're just mixing it up. I haven't really noticed any kind of set lines out of Quoll.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, you wouldn't pick it.
The first thing we said was just how disciplined all 7 players, particularly on their offense, is. If they're doing that on the fly, I think we can really look forward to Quoll featuring deep into this tournament. So
yeah, how much better they're going to get over a tournament of playing together the entire time.
So maybe the key is not training. I'm down with that. I'm actually, there's something in that, Anna. Let's test it out as we see another good pull. Menzies.
Quoll's turn. Hold the score. Thrown up and above, but brought down by Cotter. Throws through the defence, and unfortunately he's intercepted by Carnage.
Matt Saddington with the disc. Points to where he wants. He's only just got a count on now. Fakes, then throws to Tom Vathis. Vathis looks to Benicia. Benicia then puts one up out the back. This could be it. Oh, what a grab! Excellent grab by Matt Brown.
I don't think he knew that was coming at the start.
No, he wasn't. We'll see obviously a few replays of that as Carnage go absolutely mental, and rightly so, because that's the first break of the match.
That is the first break of the match.
I knew I'd get it. That is fantastic. But Anna, you're spot on. Brown didn't know that was coming. He had his back to the disc when Benicia threw that. As we see firstly the D by Vathis. So Vathis, he leads Benicia into the disc, and 84 there, you'll see he has to blind turn his head, and that's an excellent grab. 2 fantastic highlights. Hamish is out the back. Hamish Menzies. He was as surprised as anyone. And the blind turn, and this is full stretch. Well
ends up
done.
On his back.
And he's happy. I think Hamish might find himself on a meme or a GIF there in the days to come.
Yep. All right, well, that might be a particular turning point of the game going forward. Taking this long to get a break. Let's see if Quoll can hold and then get one back.
I think to your point around, or Dan's point around A lines before, looking at this line, this is one of Quoll's strongest lines. So this will be a really, unfortunately.
Slung into Williams, you can't keep hold of it. Don't think he's expecting it to quite come so fast.
Correct, yeah, this is real pressure now. Quoll will work really hard here to block them out.
You can hear the hype of Carnage. Go 2 breaks in a row.
And they get the turn, and I'm not actually too surprised. Quoll, this is probably some of their strongest 7 as Tim Stoneman picks up.
Looks to send it deep, and he does. Out in front. Baines.
And they're pumped up.
Lovely one to Burns.
Look at them go.
All right, that's a hold for Quoll. So we're still 1 break down.
A really important hold too.
Yes.
Because they, unfortunately on their pull reception, unforced error. Chris Rabb looks back. I think it's probably not on Simpson there. I think Chris probably just looked a little bit too late. and put himself in a position where he had to throw. To be fair to Rabba, half a sniff, but credit to Quoll. They held him out. They were
quite as stylish as the last catch, but still a bit of flair.
Still good. If you get to go back to your accommodation with some grass stains and some mud stains, you feel like you've had a good day. Dan, over to you.
I found out the strategy for Quoll for you. Talking to Tim Stoneman, he said there is no lines. They have set positions, so handlers and receivers. But apart from that, it's get the new players in there, get them playing.
Well, as we said before, that's incredibly impressive to see the early, the structure they've got, but also the chemistry they've got. I'm going to stay with it, Anna. I think maybe not training all season and coming and playing with a bunch of strangers. Maybe there's something to that.
I think we should start a movement.
I'm in. See, Chin. Lockdown. The count is very high, so he has to throw a big around. Menzies did well. Then to Faithful. Faithful puts it long back to Hamish. Just jumps out, pops out of his hands.
Was high pressure D by Quoll there. Every throw was contested.
Yeah.
And that ratchets up the pressure on Carnage to get the throws off even quicker.
Yep, and it's not just that throw, it's like sustained, consistent throw after throw.
Higgins on the far side of the field. Throws it across to Dungy. Big backhand.
Oh, Hamish.
Slapped away.
Well done from Menzies. Read the play, and like you said, they had a couple out the back, Anna, so if he wasn't getting a hand to that, you were most likely looking at a goal from Quoll.
Break back.
Quoll with a big chance here.
Thrown straight away. Higgins with big grab. Calm, he says. Let's chill out. Let's actually get this in. And
they break back.
Toes it in.
No, it's a turnover.
Turnover.
I thought he was just celebrating.
I saw the tippy toes, but I think they might have just been out.
Big let off for Carnage there, because that would have been a break back.
Back on serve.
Let's see what they can do. Quoll's initial defense is just superb. Once Carnage start getting flow, they're okay. It's Chin. Lee Chin Tan holds it well. Wardle goes up the line, doesn't get it. Another big around. Tom Hindbid can't get it. And Quoll's defense, like you were saying before, like throw after throw, they know every single throw is going to be contested. That builds pressure on Carnage, and they're not getting the kind of continuation passes that they want.
Higgins once again on the far side of the field. Centres it this time. Cotter. Back to Smith.
Hand block.
Instantly slapped down.
Lockie Wardle read the place superbly.
Don't mind if I do.
That was fantastic. That was just a reflex block. And Heads of State, Melbourne Carnage are going to take their time setting up now. Their biggest problem so far has been getting that initial pass flow, the first 2 or 3 passes. And once again, Quoll exerting enough pressure on the defence to make that happen again, where Hine is now going to have to put a speculator long. Vathis underneath it, a nice strong grab. He's right on the end zone line, not in yet. Vathis looks to engage a dump, any dump. He's got Lockie Wardle, another push pass, and another goal. It is counted as a goal.
Gotta be joking me. Another push pass.
Another pushy to Douglas Faithful, takes it well, because those push passes, I don't know for the player throwing it, obviously they've decided to throw it, but as a player catching that, nightmares flash in front of your eyes, all the things that could go wrong, your defender running through, it coming out with basically no rotation. But the ends justify the means in this game, as we watch an excellent block by Lockie Wardle. And Vathis. What Vathis did really well there was he looked to engage the dump nice and early. High release, backhand push pass. Callum Dungy couldn't get it.
Faithful did well to kind of box him out and make sure that he had his back between the player and the disc.
Good point. Absorbed a little bit of unintentional contact, but that meant, as you say, Anna, he was able to protect that, the drop zone of the disc, and maintain their 1 break advantage. but Quoll, I think we've got to give credit to Quoll's defence. Like those first 3 passes, it's quite dicey. Great throw from, was it Hine there? I think it was Thomas Hine.
Yes.
But that was a bailout. It was like a stall 8 throw.
Yes.
So credit to Quoll.
And they generated 2 turns just through pressure alone. All right, Quoll looking to hold again.
That one just lands in as well.
On the sideline, in a zone, never where you want to be. Lateral. Directing traffic. Pops one off, gets it back, give go. Lateral still with the disc, the store count's getting quite high. Pops it over beautifully today. Williams finally gets it off.
Heads of State's turn now to exert some defensive pressure on Quoll's offense.
Bain struggling to find any option. He sees someone on the other side of the field, but pops it to Luttrell, who runs through and throws a very shallow hammer, which goes to ground.
And so that's the reverse. Heads of State are doing back to Quoll what they did to Carnage in building pressure. It's not just over one pass. Like, you get pressure on one pass, that's fine, but when you start to build it over a series of passes, that's where play with the disc can go, I need to do something more here. This is all too dicey. I need to lift, and sometimes that's what can bring the error. Bui looks up to Thuan Thong. Probably got to it first. He's going to make a call. So there's a call, Marks saying that he was infringed here. 3-on-1. I think he's saying that Dungy made contact with his hands. Not sure that was the case. Hard to tell from this angle. We might see if we can listen in or get some of Dan's views as well. I know Dan was right near the action.
At the same time. That's a bit unclear from my perspective. I don't think.
Yeah, so it looked like you had a fairly good position. You were was contact on the hand. That's fine, I just wanted to know.
I agree. Do we just tap in?
Playing the turnover? Yeah.
It will be a turnover. It will be a turnover. We'll come back and explain that to those who are new to the sport. But for now,
Luttrell sends it wide and it's snatched down by Baines. Very quick movement there once the term was decided. Didn't really allow Carnage to set up their defence.
So for those new to the sport, Ultimate is a non-contact sport. What happened in that instance was the offensive player, Mark Tanthong, felt he was fouled. He felt contact was made. As we'll just watch this flow that you're talking about, Anna. Nice and early. 2 open passes. Well done from Quoll. But Mark felt there was contact made. And given the sport is self-refereed, had a discussion with his opponent. In this game, we also have game advisors who are not referees. They're passive, but they are available to the players to give an unbiased and objective opinion. Players can call on that if they wish. In that case, Mark did. It was a little bit hard to hear, but I think we heard the advisor give his perspective, that which was Steve Baker, said that he didn't necessarily think there was contact that affected the play. Mark, as the player who called the foul, elected to accept that, and that's why the foul was withdrawn, and given the end result was a turnover, you saw Quoll pick up the disc.
All right, Quoll back on defence, once again looking to break back and get it back on the serve.
Hine will pick up, goes to Wardle. Wardle to Menzies. Matt Saddington comes under, not on it. Wardle gets an excellent up the line. It pops out of his hands though, and Stoneman has it.
Snatched straight away. Oh, that's going to be a little bit dicey, and it's called down.
Unfortunate for Quoll. Again, another red-hot chance to break back in transition.
It's good to start quickly, but there is starting too quickly, and that probably was an example of that.
Tom Hine looks up, nice, big, flat backhand to Hamish, has the sit, but Tom Bathurst is behind and picks up the scraps. He's happy about it.
He doesn't mind it.
Spinning their fingers.
Oh, Big Sue. Just for good measure.
A bit of real Ronaldo action. I'll tell you who's happy about that. Hamish Menzies, because he was probably intended recipient. What he does well is because this disc goes up. Oh, this was the initial turn, sorry.
But immediately turned back.
Sometimes when you throw halfway in between two players, there's confusion.
Yeah.
Tom Hine. I would say a nice throw from Tom Hine. Nice and flat. Hamish goes in first. Tom says, that's all right, I got you back.
And I think Menzies was probably pushed a bit further in by his defender. Pushed to take it earlier than he would have liked because of the pressure on his back.
So Tom Vathis will have that to look back on tonight as the replay. I don't know if he'll regret it or not. Etched, immortalised in KO freebie history, Tom Vathis.
Right,
with the disc.
Picking up, it's a zone from Carnage. Higgins fakes a big one, but a bit of a shove through to Cotter. Pushing it up the line. This time he does release it. Burns underneath, but...
Well done from Brandon Dalton. Players have a quick chat, no call.
No call.
Brandon did well, he had the best sit, but it's always as a deep. You know you've got two players closing in on you, you're about to get sandwiched. There was no contact, which was fantastic, but it doesn't make it any easier when you're sitting under these long discs wondering if someone's going to sit on your head. But well done for Brandon Dalton, the captain.
There's a reason you put your tall players deep.
That's it. So, Chris Rabber to Dalton. Dalton looks back to Rabber instead. Miscommunication, excellent D. Callum Dungy has been amongst it on the defensive side today.
Throws it quickly, but again, it's overthrown in the end zone to Dylan Burns again. I still think that wind is pushing disc just a bit too hard and fast down that corner of the field.
It's also the second time in 2 points, Anna, what you said before around like rushing it. You know, they're getting the quick turn. That was picked up straight away and ran, which a lot of the time is the right play. But it's the throw that comes after that. You know, do you then try and just establish a bit of structure and patience? As we see, Chris Rabber throws the inside flick. Excellent throw to the middle of the field to Matsunas. Then to Mark Twanthong. Back to Chris Rabber, who lets one go. He lets a flick go deep. Dalton's going to have to come out. And again, Dalton. Oh, no, excellent work. Picked up the scraps. Dalton did it earlier in the game, couldn't do it this time.
Dylan Burns lost a shoe and he's running deep anyway.
There is a one.
Higgins throws deep. Baines. With it, Dylan Burns has lost his second shoe now. He's now running around the end zone in socks. But Higgins is going to take it for a safe catch.
I've not seen that before. I've seen players lose a shoe. I haven't seen them then jettison the second shoe and go, you know what, I'd rather go bare feet.
Got to even it up. He's found one now. He's got to do the long jerk back for the second one.
I don't think they will. I think it's a state of keep it. Carnage said, you want to get it? Said, well done. So that young man will come to the sideline and recleat. Or he's putting them in his bag. He goes, you know what, this is better. I'll run around in socks, boys.
He's unlocked a secret.
Yeah, it was in that contest. He didn't even, you know what I like? He didn't even look back at the shoe.
No.
He knew he lost it and went, you know what? I'm more use in the end zone than going and picking up my
no
my clog.
hesitation. All right, so Quoll once again in the position to try and break back. We're at 7-all, so next point will take half.
Significant point, this one, more so than most, because we do have the change of both ends as well as who's receiving and throwing the disc, pulling the disc. As we see, Quoll, nice, long, deep pull. Lockie Ward will be picking it up. Goes to Tan. Each in Tan. Looks for Menzies. Just overthrown. So a really big moment in this game where Quoll will be picking it up from their brick mark.
Tasser. Sends one under to Harry Bird. He sends it up.
Oh, huge D! Tom Mathis! He's already ripped out the Ronaldo move, so he can't go back to that again. That is a big play. He actually left his player, saw where the play was going to go, and that is a play worthy of Galaxy Point. Faithful, bringing it in, nice. Balance backhand to Vathis. Vathis can see Benicia deep. Lucas Benicia sitting underneath it. There are going to be a few players. It's a goal, it's caught. Matt Brown, that's his second big grab in that end zone, and that's going to be half-time. Galaxy Point, 7-all. Melbourne Carnage taking it, and Max Brown, I'll say this, Carnage are playing well. Their celebrations are probably better than their play.
Yeah, the energy in those are probably a little bit higher than the gameplay.
However, we absolutely have a game.
Oh,
I think
yes.
Quoll will not be taking a backward step at all, and we'll join Dan Clinton and Thomas Hines shortly. But yeah, Quoll can be very happy, but we'll also here check in from Melbourne Carnage. Dan's with Thomas Hines.
Heine, one of the characters of Heads of State.
Back to the change room, boys. I'm sure the replay's all right.
Well, I'm here with Thomas Heine, one of the characters of Heads of State. This is a game, mate.
We come to Nats hoping for a good game, and geez, Quoll brought it. It's a big grudge match, and it's just tooth and nail. We can't do anything about it. Just hope you get the Ds, and when you get the disc, make sure you treasure it, make sure you get it in. Oh, it's a game, though.
All right, great. Thanks for your time, Heine. I'll let you get back to the team.
Cheers, mate.
Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Dan. I think you said it well. Thomas Hine, one of the more unique characters of the Carnage team, has played very well. I think we've seen a few backhand hucks from Thomas come off. But yeah, some big grabs. Also some really good D from Quoll. If we have a second half as good as the first, I think we've had a great game.
Yeah, well, we commented at the start that the offensive level of the game was high quality, but I think the defensive level has been even higher. So it's not so much that the offense has gotten worse, but just that the defense is so high pressure that turns are just having to be generated because of the pressure.
Yeah. As we're looking back at the highlights of the first half, I mean, it feels like a long time ago that watching that first hammer go into the end zone, we went, okay, how creative is the offense going to be? But I think after that point, we started to see Quoll fall into a really disciplined method of offense, creating a lot of space for their teammates. And as we said before, their defense, particularly in the first 3 to 5 passes of the point, has been really, really strong. So, yeah, I think we are absolutely in for a game.
Yeah, we're only within one at the moment. There's only one break in it. Carnage will be coming out on O, so they have the chance to take the buffer to 2. But I would imagine Quoll might put on an A-line again to try and even that up.
I think the exciting thing that you don't know, but you know we've probably got a feeling, is there will be breaks in this second half.
Yes.
You know, if there's a breakless second half, credit to whichever offense is responsible. But you know, I think both teams will be. The message from both teams will be, you know, this is absolutely going. As I think Heine said, it's a scrap. You know, whoever holds kind of that mental strength and pushes through, they're probably going to be taking away their first win of the tournament. And welcome back to the second half, shortly to get underway. For those just joining us, we've got a great game. Melbourne Carnage leading Quoll out of Tasmania. They lead by a single point. One break, as we'll get an update from Dan Clinton shortly as to what each team discussed in the half. Dan, over to you.
Well, Quoll's halftime huddle was fast. They were in and out of the huddle inside of 10 seconds. They just kind of looked at each other. They all nodded, and they were like, yeah, this is what we're here for. Let's go play. The heads of state Carnage huddle, much more verbose, shall we say.
Blow me down.
They covered a lot more concepts. They talked about being quicker on the turn, both offensively and defensively.
Oh, that just staggers me. I don't want to labour the point too much, but for Quoll just to kind of have the not even need to talk, despite probably not knowing each other's names.
I don't want to jinx it.
yeah, they've got a good thing going. As we see Chris Rabba go to Max, over to Boy, and there'll be a travel call on Max Jones. Yeah, it is a stoppage, Rabba, because Max had thrown the disc. So for those new to the game, if you move too far with the disc, it's called a travel. You're either made to move back if you haven't thrown it, or a stoppage if you have. Mark Tuanthong, nice, around backhand break to Chris Rabba. He's in a good position in the middle of the field. Mark Tuanthong, backhand break, high release this time. Back to Rabba. Tim Stoneman, another block.
There we go.
Tim Stoneman creating his very own highlight reel on KO Freebies.
I wondered when another one was coming. Oh, just bounces out of the hands of Foggin. Unfortunately, it was a good cut.
That would have been huge. A break straight out of half to put it back on serve instead. Chris Rabba, and he won't have a dump, or a mark, sorry. Has one now in Tim Stoneman. Fakes the around backhand to Mark Tuanthong. Keeps the flow going. That's nice to Ernest Tay. Tay looks to engage Boy. Nice up the line cut with his bucket hat, Boy. Throws through around flicked. Oh, but Tay, I think, has dropped it. He has in the far sideline.
Foggin to pick up in the corner. Stoneman making moves. Gets it in the middle of the field. Sends a flick that blades pretty quickly.
Well done, Wardle. Just made sure of it. And Chris Rabba will pick it up. Mark Tuanthong out of a horizontal formation. Goes to Max Jones. Max, nice touch throw to Chris Rabba. Mark back to Mark Tuanthong. And Mark looks to hit. That's a goal.
Brandon Dalton.
I think it was Brandon, wasn't it? Yep, Brandon Dalton. I was a little bit worried out of the hand. I thought it was initially for Tay, who kind of ran past it, but let's just say Dalton called him out. Yeah. Love it when a plan comes together.
Sophisticated play.
Excellent block. And again, that's Stoneman coming off his player as well. Unfortunately, couldn't get the break back to capitalise.
Yeah, this is Quoll's problem at the moment. They're working really hard and generating blocks, but I think maybe a bit overexcited, a bit feeling the pressure of needing to get the break and forcing passes when they shouldn't.
Exactly, and it's all in like the first 2 or 3 passes. If the message to Quoll was, you know what, after we get a turn, we're just going to bounce it a couple of times just to feel the disc and to get into our flow and our structure, I think things could turn. But, we said it at half, there's going to be turns, there's going to be breaks in this game, and I think that's the perfect example where both teams had legitimate shots. This time around, heads of state hold, which is Melbourne Carnage hold, which is fantastic. Now it's Quoll's turn. as we see a nice inside-out pull.
Loty pull. Take a while to come down. Does it land in? No, the brick is called. It's going to come to the centre of the field at the brick mark, which is about a third of the way down. Cotter with the disc. Looks like Carnage is setting up in a zone again.
Michael, come under.
Cotter trying to see if he can penetrate through. He throws around. He's caught on the sideline. Pemberton back to Higgins. It's quite a way back, but gets it right off the sideline. Smith centres to Higgins. He's got Cotter out wide. Gets a little dish forward. Back to Smith.
This is where they want to go with Carnage.
Yeah, closing them down. Right on the sideline now. Higgins fakes a big one.
Good crash.
He's closed in. Gets a round throw. Cotter has to go to the ground to keep that one.
Great
Caught by
pressure.
Pemberton. Throws it up deep, but Menzies is there, catches it, and we're instantly underway.
Hamish with the disc now. They're a little bit stagnant in the stack. He looks around for his dump. You don't have one aim. You got to keep going. Well done from Tan. Tan now back to Menzies. Menzies lets one go. It's touched, but it might continue on. Tom Vathis, is he in? He is.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Genuine heartbreaker.
What an effort from Bird. Laid out upwards to get a touch on that.
A little bit, and there is a question. No, it is a... I think he's being called out.
Being called out. But lots of hand waving.
So we should get a look at it here. Regardless of whether it's caught, you know what's a heartbreak up? Bird hitting that probably slowed it down. It's probably going out the back. Ooh.
Yeah, close to the line.
Ooh. Hard to tell from this angle, mate. We might be able to get another look. It was definitely quite close. Really hard to tell from here. Did look very close. And Tom happy to accept it.
Called out. That'll make Bird a bit happier.
Yeah, that's a D. That counts as a D now, even though he probably slowed the disc down. We'll take one more look. So close. I mean, Dylan Burns was right there to look at it. So, and ultimately what Tom did was trust his opponent and say, okay, if you had a good view of it, I was obviously catching the disc, so I don't know, so I'll trust your perspective. So again, big let off for Quoll. That could have been 2 breaks.
Yeah, once again, kind of pinned into the sideline, but a hammer might get them out of that spot of trouble. Unfortunately, hangs in the air. That's what happens when you throw a hammer into the wind.
That hammer did a bit of everything. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that, because whoever was under it had to run left, then they had to run right, and yeah, again, as you say, Anna, very hard to read, so kind of ran both ways underneath it, just allowed enough space there for the Melbourne Carnage player to get the D. Tom Vathis going deep again. Thomas Hine with the disc, holds it, goes with the very low flick that won't complete, and Quoll will again get a chance to hold their offensive point.
Matthew Brown goes to ground, but I think he just got a touch, not really a hand to it.
Always hard. That never went more than 6 inches off the ground, that one.
Carnage back in their zone.
And a violation's been called. Uncontested violation. It's going to come in on 0.
Cotter to Higgins, both working through the disc quite a lot in this zone. Bird right on the sideline. Don't want to be here for too long. This is where you keep getting your turns.
Yeah,
He's looking for a way out. He sees Cotter in the distance, but throws it straight.
Matt Saddington, probably the biggest player on the field. Thomas Hine. He gets encouraged to use his dump. He does. Throws it nice to Menzies. Throws it nice, but put a nice amount of air on it too, so it's sat up. Cut's starting to dry up, and we've spoken about this before, Anna, where you're working really hard in defence, and then you've got to go and play O. And Matt Saddington did a great job of it there, taking the grab. He looks long. Throws a wide flick,
Higgins got a touch on that.
I think there was a sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it from here. There's a foul call.
I feel like it's a big foul.
A foul was.
We can have a conversation.
Uncontested foul. Thanks to our game advisors mic'd up for Kayo Freebie. So it'll come in on 0. So similar throw goes up. Unfortunately, Quoll able to pick it off.
Yeah, once again really shutting down that primary movement of Carnage, and so cuts really dry up and kind of throw something that doesn't really have a receiver for it. Cotter, once again with the disc in this zone, looking to take charge. But yeah, Carnage is doing a really good job of consistently herding them to this sideline and then pinning them in.
Yeah, this is the problem area.
Throws a big one to Cotter, grabs with one hand, catches Menzie in the process. Higgins tries to throw it around, and he's successful. And that is a hold for Quoll, which is probably a big sigh of relief. Didn't want to be 2 breaks down in the game.
Yeah, and you can see both teams, but particularly the Melbourne Carnage boys walking off. They're gassed. That was a big point. That was a lot of running, quite a few turns. Probably one of the more sloppier points we've seen, but I think you made the point well earlier, Anna. That's not bad offense. It's just the defense is taking that step up.
Yeah, incredibly high.
I noticed, Dan, you've got something for us over on the far sideline.
Well, part of what Melbourne Carnage talked about at halftime was actually sticking with the zone until Quoll can show that they can beat it. It looks like they're going to keep sticking with it.
I think you're spot on, Dan. I think, well done, Quoll, for scoring, but I think if you get 3 or 4 turns in a point playing the defence that you're playing, it's probably working. And Anna, as you said, this sideline towards our broadcast position, that's really where they're getting most of the Ds. I've got to ask you, though, you didn't give me much of my welcome back Cotter gag at the start of the game. Was that just because you thought it was genuinely unfunny, or is this a generation? Am I showing my age here? He got the disc twice, so I said, oh, welcome back, Cotter. I thought it was gold. You gave me donuts.
Look, I usually try to pretend I understand a reference, but I've got to
no,
say...
okay, that's good. Yeah, Andy, you're just old. It's not that you're not funny. It's that you're old and potentially not funny. So Chris Rabber with the disc goes to Boy, back to Chris Rabber. Mike in our production booth is nodding. He got it. Boy. To Mark Van Thong. He has to take it high. He has. Gives it a show. Oh, back to Bucket Boy. Really good flow from Chris Rabber. And he's going to have Mark Van Thong there. Is he going to show it again? He does. And he runs it back. Not too sure why. I don't know where he's going. I hope he's not going to the camera.
He's got someone to drop to. Yeah, there it is.
For those who don't know Mark Tanthong, you do now. He started off with some style points just on a pretty regulation catch. And I didn't know if he caught it out. He was running it back to the line, as we see the first one here.
I think he'd already decided what he was going to do before he caught the disc.
He's looked at the camera. And Chris Rabber just going, okay, let's one more for the cameras. Deliberately sat it up on his head.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. He knew exactly where he was going.
Well, been commentating for about 4 years, and I can quite confidently say that's the first time I've seen that. A little part of me hopes it's the last as well, but I have a feeling it won't be, so my goodness. Outside of the theatrics, Anna, I think what's also very important is that was a break.
It was, yes.
I thought you were going to
Sorry.
bring me undone. No, I thought I was wrong.
I thought about it again. No, it was a break. So now they are 2 ahead.
So that's significant in this game, as we see the pull. Pretty decent land in from the sideline for Quoll.
Pemberton back to Higgins, gets it on the second try. But once again, getting herded back into this sideline. That's better. Moving in across to the far side of the field. Cheeky scuba over the top. Foggin doing some give-goes. Smith and Foggin, they've worked it back to this sideline. Get out of jail again with another scuba to lateral. I mean, if you've got them in the wheelhouse, you may as well use them.
Absolutely.
Lateral does a low back end right in front of the end zone line, and then a quick one for Udite, and that is a much needed hold for Quoll.
Yeah, you're right. It can sometimes be a bit of a challenge when you drop one break. You find yourself where you drop your second, especially if you do, and Quoll aren't running set lines, but if you have to play 2 points in a row, also from a dynamic and mental perspective, you can kind of drop your head, but Quoll absolutely didn't. In fact, it was probably one of the better points where they moved the disc over to the far sideline, which opens up so much more space.
Yeah, and you can see that they got a lot more forward movement down the field once they got it out of this area. I'm not sure if I entirely approve of the breaking the zone consistently with a scuba, but
look, like you say,
I'm just not brave enough.
Yeah.
Quoll still searching for their first break of the game. I very much think they have it in them.
It's going to come, 100%.
It's composure. They just need some composure once they get the turn.
So Chris Rabber to Hollywood, Twanthong over to Dalton. And again, Quoll's defense exceptional. Goes to Bull. Bucket can't get it.
A very good opportunity for Quoll. They're close to their end zone line. Don't have too many metres to faff about with.
Must convert this. Tim Stoneman.
Stoneman fakes a hammer. Bird. He's looking end zone eyes. Logan right in the corner, right in front of the end zone. Can he squeeze one through to Stoneman? He's got his foot over the line. And that is a break for Quoll, the first of the game.
It's been a unique game. There are some unique things that have happened, and I'd put that one up there with it as we see a timeout called. Jake Wilson, one of the 3 coaches that Carnage have. As we see the turn, Dalton just putting it slightly behind Bowie with the bucket hat, and then a bit of dancing, bit of electric boogaloo from Tim Stoneman, towing it in. All you need is 1 foot behind the line,
one toe,
providing that your other foot's not in the playing field proper. And Jake Wilson, as I said, one of 3 coaches alongside Rebecca and Sean Craven. I'd imagine the message is, we're entering, we don't have quarters in this game, we've got halves, but we're probably entering, it's the start of that final quarter. It's a 65-minute mark, we've got 15 minutes left, and I'd imagine the message would really be, get ready. Like you just said, the breaks are going to come. There are going to be turns and breaks in this game. Really steel yourself and focus in for the last 15 minutes of this game, because I think we are in for an intense finish, and there's every chance it'll be double game point. We'll get an update from Dan shortly as to what the message out of Quoll was. Probably not too dissimilar. It's going to be a genuinely tight battle. As Dan, we'll head over to you. What's the message out of Quoll?
Well, Quoll very happy at the moment. They're all smiles in the huddle. Just talking about it's going to come. Just keep working and represent Tasmania.
Love it. Thanks, Dan.
Nice. Keep it simple.
I like the state pride as well. Represent Tassie.
Well, so far they've done a pretty good job.
Absolutely. I think this is regardless of the outcome for Quoll in this game, to have such a young team as well as a team that has imports, like players from WA or from New South Wales who are proudly badged Tassie for the weekend. I think they've done exceptionally well, and as we said earlier, I think if they can play other teams, bring this performance like they have with other teams, we'll be seeing them in the pointy part of the tournament. As we see, pull goes up, Tom Hine goes to Lockie Wardle. Looks to Vathis. Vathis looks to engage the dump, does. Dump's really well covered. Hamish comes out. Lockie Wardle makes the cut, doesn't come off. Tom Vathis gets the nice wide around backhand. Big bid from Stoneman again, would have been his third. Tom Vathis, little bobble. Back to Wardle. So this is really good. Melbourne Juggernauts starting to just bring a bit of flow in here, and just as I say that,
Andrew.
That's two.
That's two.
That's my second.
This is crucial for Quoll. If they're going to get back into a position of strength in this game, this is when they have to do it.
Big point.
And that was me.
Yes.
That was my first one.
I'm going to keep a tally this weekend. 2-1. Heads of State won't score this. There we go. I'll try and reverse psychologies. We're going to just check that the disc is not unable to be thrown. Tom Hine checking it out. He's pretty happy with it. All players set. It's been tapped in. He looks out the break side. A really nice break backhand. And you know what? I think Tom Hine was probably within his rights. That disc, maybe it didn't come out right, but it looks like it's had a little bit of attention.
Yeah, flutter.
Might have made things a little harder for Lucas Benicia. Great break throw, though.
I'm going to say nothing about Quoll's chances here. Just going to commentate what happens. Cassar sends one deep. It's a big flick. It's turning towards the near side of the field. Higgins goes up with one hand.
Huge grab.
It might be a call.
Well, he's taken the grab. I think the only question is it a goal or is it on the sideline? Sorry, on the end zone line. Yeah, they're playing it in the field. So he caught it and then landed in. A little bit of unintentional contact. They'll tap it in. Big point.
Yes, and a great effort by him to rise above about 3 Carnage players. All right, this is the crucial throw. This is where things can go wrong. That last little, but it's to Stoneman. Nice and easy in the end. And Quoll go ahead.
11 minutes left in the game. We're back on serve. But Quoll have the advantage, the very slight advantage. Melbourne Carnage with their chance to convert. Fortunately, a couple of turns. And we're really getting to the pointy part of this game. Stellar grab from Higgins. Old Cristiano Ronaldo himself landing on him and wouldn't have enjoyed that, but showed a lot of composure, and that's often, sometimes, it sounds silly to say, but that 1 centimetre pass can be the hardest, because that's the one that has all the pressure on it, especially, you're looking at 10 all now, 11-10.
Yeah.
That pressure can just make things very hard, and the defence knows that and exploits it accordingly.
And oftentimes it's a cut you'd look off anywhere else in the field, but because it's in the end zone, you think you might try and force it.
As the end zone eyes, as they're called. So Chris Rabber picks up, looks to Simpson. Simpson, nice low backhand for Mark. I didn't think that was intended for Wardle. Rabber's got it, fakes the big flick, goes instead inside to Mark. Mark and Rabber have worked really well. Now over to Vo. Vo out to the junior who looks, he sticks. That's a goal! Max Napolitano throwing the goal, and it's Ernest Tay, again another rookie.
11s. It was a nice, quick, easy one for Carnage. That's what you want to see. If they've got to work hard to get a break, you don't want them working hard to score their offense point as well.
So a big line being called from Juggernaut here. $11-all. Every point from this point on crucial to the team who wants to take this out. 8.5 minutes left. All the first team to 15, I think, will be going to time cap. I don't think either team's going to reach 15.
Yeah. Luttrell picking up for Quoll. Foggin once again in a zone. Cassar finds himself on this now very familiar sideline.
Yeah.
Baines. Quick one to Cassar. The scuba's out again.
Sniff. Well done. Faithful.
Looks like there might be a call on whether that was a strip or maybe a foul.
I think the call is a foul, yeah. They're pointing at space. This is the scuba that you were talking about, your favourite.
So I thought I hit just your leg. Yeah. So I stopped because I don't think you could have got it before I got it. I think I was in position to get it, and you came through into me. I feel like I hit the disc, and then there was incident of that. Okay. So contested foul. Back to this contested foul. Good. Yeah.
So both players having a discussion, having alternative points of view, which means the foul is contested, and it's going to go back. I've seen a couple of goals be thrown from Max Napolitano. He fresh off the Vic High School champs 4 days ago.
Back on the sideline with Quoll. Their offense points are pretty much at this point being determined of how successful they are getting it out of this space.
Injury called. Oh no.
Injury.
Hopefully just a
Ethan
cramp.
Foggin.
I think he just said a cramp.
Hobbling off the field.
Yeah, so Max Napolitano, yeah, fresh off Vic High School champs 4 days ago, played with Aquinas College, carried them to a third place. So hopefully he can continue his rich vein of film as the disc is checked in.
Higgins. They're really, their downput options are just non-existent at this point. They're really struggling just to keep it reset and out of this trapped corner.
You're spot on, Anna. That's what they need to move it to the far side of the field.
Higgins faking left and right.
Now they can
gets
move
one
it
through the gap to Cassar. Back to Higgins. Cassar on the sideline.
Everything, yeah.
Throws a big lofty backhand to the other side of the field.
Good grab. Great grab.
Brought down by Mountain.
This is the side of the field they want to keep it on.
Look at all the space he has to throw now.
Yeah.
Easy one to Luttrell in the middle. We don't want to go too far to this sideline. What they really want to do is maybe, if they have to throw this way, make sure they get meters forward as well. So they're not trapping themselves with no gain. And there's a hammer. I wondered when it was next coming, and it's Tatay, and it's a goal.
Well done by Casson there, because he was taking it a lot on this close sideline, which we've said repeatedly is probably not the best place for Quoll to be, but his eyes were consistently looking over to that far sideline, both far as well as deep. Eventually he let the hammer go, and even though that was a bit speculative, and he threw another speculative one earlier in the point, which was a contested grab, I think it's worth the risk to get it over to that sideline, because as you called, all the space then that his teammates have to work with takes all that pressure off. So I think that's the formula, and hopefully Casson can continue hitting that fat side. Nice read from Tay as well, should be said.
Yeah, not as easy as it looks when it's fluttering around in the wind.
And not when it's on you at 11-all in your first first tournament, national tournament of the you're joining the team.
Yeah, many a hammer has been dropped in the end zone.
That's it. All right, pressure back to Melbourne Carnage as the disc goes up. It might be a brick, and that might just help release the pressure valve a little bit. Chris Rabber will get to go take the disc. Heads of State, Melbourne Carnage, as part of the Heads of State Ultimate Group, a series of teams, two of which are here this weekend, Melbourne Carnage and Melbourne Phoenix. Take the disc. Vo in, under, then back in. Gets to Mark Twanthong. Back to Boyd. Boy holds, no real pivot, nothing much happening in the cup, in the stack, and there's a big turn and there's a big point in this game.
That's a good catch. Look to reset to Stoneman, take charge of the point. We're in the middle of the field, that's where they want to be, and there's no zone this time, so it makes it a bit easy. Dungy. Back to Smith. They're making meters pretty easily. Cotter fakes a hammer. Gets one eventually through to Stoneman, who sends it straight away for a goal. Pick is called. So that'll go back to Stoneman because it happened before the throw.
So you'll see there, Vote needed to pull out. There's a pick call.
Stoneman. He's looking for a reset. Gets a little one under. Dungy looks off Cotter. He's looking for a dump. Gets one from Petrie. They're losing meters, but it's better to keep the disc than try and force 100%. It forward and have a turn.
It's good patience.
Stoneman throws an almost vertical blade.
Oh, that's great.
And it's almost caught horizontally, but unfortunately, fully vertical discs are probably the most difficult ones to catch, particularly when you're already flying through the air.
Yeah. I did say good patience immediately before a 90-degree blade got ripped. So again, sorry to Quoll, Tim Stoneman.
That's free for you.
Put it in his head. That said, your man almost caught it. It was pretty close. Chris Rabber with the disc now coming in. Mark goes deep instead. Open under, almost to Callahan, almost a goal caught by Quoll in their own end zone. It's another one. And this is where the wind is actually picking up, and this is where, and there's a move to Mark. This is where the pressure really starts to get real. Cuts are drying up. Throwers getting tired. Chris Rabber. They're getting a little bit of flow back now. Nice inside break to Boy. Bucket lets it go, and I don't think it's coming back. It's going to almost be in. He's out. Well caught by Matsunas, but unfortunately had his foot on the line, and in the game of Ultimate Frisbee, on the line is out. Need to be inside the line.
Stoneman, once again, familiar face with the disc. He's looking to be keeping the composure of Quoll at the moment, looking for a good option, not throwing the first thing that comes across. Dungy on the line. Oh, a catch under pressure by Pemberton. Oh, and an incredible catch by Stoneman.
That's number 3.
Quick one to Cotter. Looking for the dump, not looking at the end zone anymore. Dungy. Carnage are doing a pretty good job of shutting down the end zone. There's not a lot coming out of there. It's just mostly lateral movement.
And that is points cap. So we will add one to this score and play to the highest.
Smith getting it to the far side of the field now.
Oh, he's caught it.
It's thrown directly into
But they've got to run now. Carnage have got to go because the disc is, no one's going to be able to set up. Mark lets one rip. It's to Max Jones. He's going to run in. This is the hardest throw in Ultimate. He's right on the end zone line. Goes to Boy. Bucket. Oh, it's the hardest throw in Ultimate. Boy, he's called an injury. There's an injury call. Oh. Great throw. Great run down by Jones. Had Boy free, but he had to track back, and I think that's where he hurt his head. It went under his bucket hat.
Yeah, I think he tried to make it an easy,
yes,
nice floaty catch, but in the wind it's just dragged it back this way.
There's a difference between floaty and too floaty.
Yep.
As we have Tasmanian royalty on the sideline in Mike Baker, one of the, I guess you'd call it founding fathers, or certainly one of the early family members of Quoll. Not playing with Quoll today, but certainly cheering them on as we have a timeout called. So the game will add one to the highest score and play to that. So if Quoll score, there'll be 13, so it'll be a game to 14. And if Carnage score, it'll be 12 all. Game of 13, next point wins, also known as universal point.
How good to have a universal point, the second game of Nationals.
Lots of highlights in that point. Tim Stoneman, as I said, there it is right there. His own personal highlight reel today. This was an excellent tee as well. Just reflex. One thing to get your hand to it, another to actually just stick it. And then Mark Trenthong's excellent put to Max Jones. Unfortunately, just that last throw. We said it before. It can be. It's harder than it looks.
And you can see he lifted the disc lip up, and so the wind caught it and brought it backwards. For our AFL viewers, you might hear some familiar songs at the moment. That is the Western Bulldogs song coming from Melbourne Carnage. Why they're singing it, have no idea, but they seem to quite enjoy it as we head over to Dan Clinton.
So I just heard the play call for Carnage. It's going to be a zone.
Wow. Anna, thoughts?
I think that's an incredibly smart call. That's where I think they've got most of their pressure and most of their turns today. And even if Quoll are starting to figure it out, the way out of it is still a bit risky because overheads in the wind are always a bit speculative. Yeah, and I think it's also worth for the people at home knowing the wind is more of a factor than it was at the start of the game. It's starting to kick up now. So especially if you're throwing high discs, that's where the wind's going to catch it and have a bit of an impact. The interesting thing here, and I don't know if they're just doing it on Tim Stoneman, but they are forcing the opposite direction to what I thought they would. They're forcing what we call to the away sideline. You've got your home sideline and the away sideline, and they are forcing now away, which I think is very interesting. Oh, almost a layout grab. Cotter rips one straight away. Is he going to get it, Dylan Burns? Boxes him out, gets the catch. That's a break for Quoll.
Massive break at a massive time in this game. That is a full field huck.
That's 13-11, which means it'll be game to 14 now. So if Carnage want to take this game out, they now have to score 3 in a row.
It just goes to show how massive a point that was. But yeah, having it on that high side, I mean, we haven't seen that all game. We haven't seen that throw go all game because they haven't had it on the high side. So interesting call from Juggernaut to allow it to be on that side, but maybe because the wind has changed and it is a bit swirly, keep mixing it up on them. But well done to Quoll. They've absorbed, and I think continually, they've absorbed the pressure that Carnage have thrown in their zone looks as well as their match looks. You know, and they deserve to be in the position they're in at 13-11.
And on a point like that, it's easy to holster those big, long throws because you want to be safe and conservative. But if the options are still there, then you should take them. And credit to them that they did.
Yep.
So this could be game point if Quoll manages to get another break.
Correct. Quoll will have 3 shots at it. Melbourne Carnage cannot afford to drop anything. So we got Chris Rabber. Pops one up to Tom Vathis, who's been great today. Looks to Tom Hine, who gets covered. High count. Hamish does well to come back. Looks to Chris Rabber. They're not really moving forward.
Stay with him, Adam! Stay with him, Adam!
And he's to Rabber. Nice weighted flick to Thomas Hine. Didn't throw to Wardle, instead goes to Rabber. And Rabber just overthrows Benicia, and this could be the game here. Rabber's head goes up, he knew out of the hand, that was a little bit wide.
Logan coming to pick up the disc. Takes stock. Throws an easy one to Richards, but unfortunately it's bobbled out of his hand.
I don't know if we'll see a replay, but I think Richards was already turning around to focus on his throw before he'd completed the catch.
Mistake, thinking of the next thing before you finish the first.
Rabber lets one go. It's to Hamish in the back corner, and it's a goal. That's a stellar throw and an excellent grab.
right, 1 down, 2 to go for Carnage.
Hamish Menzies. Rabbit just letting one go into the back corner. And now Quoll will have a chance to capitalise on the position they've earned.
Yeah.
They'll have 2 offensive shots, as Anna said.
See Stoneman, Higgins and Cotter all walking to the line. So a lot of handling firepower in that line.
Yeah, as Dan said earlier, they're not necessarily calling or shortening lines, but they do have a balance of knowing who does what on the team. A balance of handlers who are more responsible for, I guess, throwing the disc, and cutters who are more responsible for doing all the hard work, doing all the running, advancing the disc down the field.
I reckon we'll see Carnage come down in a zone, probably forcing the home side.
Be interesting to see if they make that adjustment. Decent pull. Oh, had to get out of the way of it. Good run down.
Cotter centres it.
You're right, Anna. They are back forcing home now. And they get the turn.
Bit of contact, but no call made. Instantly successful on that defensive
Rabbit
strap.
picks up, goes to Bowie with the bucket hat. Vathurst, he's played really well today. Tom Hine has lost his Tigers hat, probably for the best. Big Richmond nuff. Hiney, big count, looks the inside flick.
Huge block.
And they're going to need to set up.
Crossfield to Stoneman, that's where they want to have the disc. Petrie, sorry, Burns.
Very stagnant.
Slots one through the middle. Mountain.
This could be it.
Pops it up to Stone. Still on the sideline where he wants to be, but moves a little bit quickly. Burns doesn't really seem to know what happened there.
Yeah, he's looking at his hand as if it has a hole in it. Unfortunately, yeah, it's almost too close to his body. Rabbit goes one early. Wardle and Hamish at the back, but can't get it. And Wardle is hurt. He's landed on his ankle here, and he's pretty tender. Oh, he had his ankle. Ooh, yeah. He's not a happy boy right now. Hopefully he will be okay for the rest of the time. He's walking off under his own steam, so hopefully just a stinger. And I don't think there was a call. I think that was when he landed, so I don't believe there'll be a call.
Steve Baker running over to sort out any confusion.
Maybe there is a call. We'll see if we can listen in. Oh, the contact after may have been what the call was about. You can see there Leighton Cotter making contact. It did kind of look like the disc was passed, but again, we don't have the best perspective. That's up to the players on the field, as well as with helping in a game advisory capacity from today, Steve Baker and Noah Midgley. And no call, so it will be
turnover.
Quoll with the disc again. They've made a substitution as well, Quoll. So Steve Cassar, who I think was really instrumental in terms of the first way, the time that one of the times they broke through the zone. So it's a bit of a no-brainer to bring him on. Steve Cassar right now behind the disc, calling for it.
Cotter throws a scuba in front to Stoneman, who instantly lets it rip. Looking for Mountain. It's fading to Pemberton. And it's out of his hands.
And the collective groan in unison from Quoll. Most of them were about to storm the field.
Could have been it.
Not to say that they won't get their chance, but they certainly thought that was it. Unfortunately, it just died late. But Carnage will have to work this the length of the field if they want to send this to double game point. And when you're on your 26th point of the game, Your legs can get pretty heavy. Great flow from Vathis, keeping the disc moving. Vathis goes again. In power position, hits. Oh, but nice D. That's Steve Cassar. He was the injury sub, or he was the sub that they made when Juggernaut made their injury sub.
Good strategic call. He's on the far sideline. He's got the whole field to throw to. Gets it to Cotter, who throws a low one to Stoneman. He's looking. He's trying to find an option in the end zone. Finds one in front. Mountain. Pops one quickly to Cotter. Can he get it away to Stoneman? Cotter to Stoneman. What a way to finish that game. Quoll's going to take that, 14-12.
Excellent game. Well played from both teams. Both had probably moments of flow and some small runs. Breaks both ways, obviously, which we spoke about quite a lot. We knew that there were going to be turns in that game because of the high-quality defence. But well done to Quoll, especially, as we said, a team that is quite new. I think it's their first, I think it might be their second tournament or second Div 2, but so many new players here, it may as well be their first. So we'll jump over to Dan, who has one of their players today, a player who probably brought his own highlight reel and did really well consistently through the game right up until that last point, Tim Stoneman. Dan, over to you.
Yeah, here with Tim Stoneman, probably the MVP, led from the front here with a victory for Quoll, mate. Well done.
Good, generous, Amy. Thank you. Yeah, we are really pleased. Definitely the seedings would have suggested we should lose this game. So to come out, a lot of new players, performed really, really strongly. Very pleased. Yeah.
So the question is, how deep can Quoll go in the tournament, do you think? Quarters, semis, the final?
It's going to depend how we adapt from now on. We did struggle a little bit against the zone, so maybe we need to lift a bit there before we can challenge too deeply. But our aim at the start of the tournament was somewhere mid-table, so this is a huge step towards that. And if we keep winning, you never know.
Thank you, Tim. Congratulations, mate. I'll let you get back to the boys.
Thank you, Dan. Cheers.
Back over to you, Andy.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Dan. That's it from us. Stay tuned. We've got Manly and Factory coming up next. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.